All glory to Jesus. And everything I say hereupon is to glorify Jesus' name. We were just discussing where is Jesus Christ right now. While you and I are alive on this earth, where is Jesus Christ right now? We know that he's going to return, and we're looking for his return. And the Holy Bible speaks of Jesus Christ's life. And it talks about his birth, not only in the Old Testament, but also in the New Testament. But there's really a lot of time within his life that is unknown. It's not in the Bible, and therefore, it'd be speculation. He was crucified at the age of 33, is that correct? So he was a young man on earth, and he paid for our sins here, for us here living on earth. And he did that so that the sacrifice of living animals no longer had to be done for one's own sins. He did that for us. And I want you to hold on, because I'm going to talk and say things that you might not have ever heard before. I truly have never said these words before. What I'm about ready to say, I've never said them out loud to another living being or to myself. These are new revelations, would I say, or understandings. And we were discussing, where is Jesus right now if he is paying for our sins? And be very careful on how you interpret what I am ready to say. I mean, when we bring Jesus into our life, just his last 48 hours of his life is so difficult for us to go through, and to want to be there and live and learn those lessons because of the pain and suffering. Because it's not just a physical pain, right? I mean, there's the being having someone being a traitor, is why he's hanging on the cross. And then, his disciples left him out of embarrassment and fear, and having the people that he's trying to help and minister have turned against him, and even the person that's condemned him, Pilate, is kind of sympathetic even to him, but yet he still has condemned him to death. And I could go on and on of his last 48 hours. And this is a very short period of time, a few days of suffering. Before that, the stories of his life, he's relieving others of their suffering, of their lifetime of suffering. So let's pick somebody. Let's pick the woman that just touched the hem of his garment. Yes? Now she suffered for, what was it? 12 years? Or 40 years maybe even. My numbers can get a little bit crossed up right now. She suffered for decades. And she touched the hem of his garment, and she was healed instantly. Now, she suffered, granted, maybe not the same way that Jesus' last 48 hours were, but did she not suffer longer than Jesus? How about somebody that's blind, deaf, and dumb? How about the man where Jesus cast out legions of devils out of one man, and they ran out of him and jumped into the swine, and the swine couldn't handle it themselves and ran and drowned themselves? Okay, that one man, he was a man before the devils entered him, and when Jesus came and cast out the devils, he became a man again, correct? He wanted to go with Jesus, and Jesus said, no, you stay right here and preach and minister and tell everybody what has happened, that you were a man, and that you were possessed by devils, and that the devils had been cast out of you, right? And he lived in a tomb, and his story, the suffering that he must have gone through. Now, we don't know how long he was in these tombs, but I would imagine, well, it had to have been more than 48 hours, because the stories are that they chained him up and he was able to break the chains, and they fettered him and he was able to break the fetters, and he would always return, and he had guard the pass so nobody could go back and forth. So it was obviously a period of time longer than 48 hours. I would imagine that that man was suffering greatly. He was eating himself. I imagine that's more suffering than what Jesus went through for 48 hours. Now, don't misinterpret what I'm saying here. There's people alive right now that may hear my voice that have suffered greater than what Jesus did his last 48 hours. We know for a fact that there's people we know these stories that people have lived their lives and have had to suffer at the hands of other human beings and be tortured for years. And why even go into these stories? To get my point across. Maybe even you yourself have a chronic disease of pain level that's gone on for decades. Correct? So if Jesus Christ came and suffered for all mankind's sins, and we can't even wrap our heads around that his last 48 hours was so painful. And yet the stories that he treated and cured goes on and on, of multitudes of people that suffered their lifetime longer than the 48 hours that he had to suffer. Are you catching where I'm heading with this? Is 48 hours of just a normal, granted, being crucified was a terrible and is a terrible, painful, cruel way to die. But people all over the world have suffered greater deaths and longer painful at the hand of man. Where is Jesus Christ right now, paying and suffering for our sins of all mankind for all time? Did he get, was it, please, I can't even say the words. God bless you. God bless America.